Hey everyone, welcome back to another market closing live stream. Well. Indices are quite red again. I really want to take a look at sort of a broad overview of some of my faves here. But first, want to go ahead and start with paying respects to the indices here, or the indices here. Dow Jones down 0.53%, S&P down 0.88%, NASDAQ down 0.96%, and Russell down 0.32%. We've also got, in terms of bonds, 10-year Treasury yield sitting at 1.375 today. That's quite a jump. We've got about 10.10 there of an increase over just the last few days. Now, something that I do think is interesting is if we type in S&P 500 index, just type in stock afterwards, whatever. You don't have to spell it right. Take a look at this. Zoom out here year to date. We know S&P 500 has been great year to date, but what you're really looking for is you're looking for a 5% correction in the S&P 500. And right now, we're literally only at a 2.24% correction in the S&P 500. That's it. It's not even a correction. It's a nothing. It's a blip. We've had like 2 or 3 days of red here. The S&P 500 has only managed to go down 2.24%. It's pathetic. It's weak. It's sad. What you really want to see is if you go back to a year, we're going to have to actually go a little bit further than a year. What you're really looking for is obviously, I mean, a dip right here. This was obviously the recession, the crisis over here. Excuse me. But I really want you to pay attention to this August 28th down to not necessarily October 30th. There we go. The September fall last year. The September fall last year, when you look at August 28th to September 25th, you had a 6% sell-off in the S&P 500 last September. Then you also had an October dip that would have brought you down. If you're still measuring from August 28th, it would have brought you down 6.79% through the end of October. Now, what's important to know about this difference here is that this particular dip came because of election fear and election uncertainty. Was the election going to be accepted? Was there going to be a disaster and a transition of power? What was going to happen? So this dip was very particularly unique, whereas this September dip was more sort of seasonal, kind of what we're seeing now. And we did see that nearly 6% decline in September. We're only down 2.24% right now. So if we are sitting down 2.24% and we're in a market where potentially things are going to continue to decline, it is not a horrible position to be in to have some cash. Now, with that said, there are a lot of things still doing well, even though the indices are down. Take a look at how some things are actually running pretty well. Smile Direct not running the way it was this morning, but 14%. Lucid Group ran up to 9%. What's really incredible here is you're seeing a lot of SPACs run like crazy. Absolute run here. Yeah, I've got, yeah, exactly. Kevin here. Thank you for your comment there. Matterport upgraded to $26 price target from 22 on increasing subscriptions. Look, Matterport, phenomenal stock. It's a really, really incredible company, and I love the company. I've been operating the Matterport camera since 2015 or 16. I can't remember one of those years. I've been with Matterport forever, and this is a lovely stock. But what I've noticed is you've seen a lot here recently, even though we've got some sort of top line pain on the indices, you're seeing a lot of money a lot of money potentially go on the sidelines, with the exception for some of the higher risk SPAC plays. You are seeing some of the higher risk companies come back. Look at this. Virgin Galactic, 7%. Matterport, 8%. Lucid Group, 9%, right? These are some of your higher risk plays here. Plug Power, 5.37. Canoe, Hyliion. These are your risk on plays. When the market says, let's go risk on, you definitely see some juice over here in these particular stocks, which is very, very exciting. Towards the downside, you are seeing some stocks that have had a lot of momentum kind of start softening a little bit. And really where you're seeing the indices get weighed down isn't really in dramatic places. It's really more so over here in that 1 to 0.5% rotation to the downside. Like, for example, you look at the big heavyweights. Google down 2%. You look at Apple down 1.85%. That's almost 2%, obviously. You look at Amazon down 0.78%. Look at Netflix, only up 0.2%. Facebook down 2.46%, right? So in this interesting way, right now, one of the reasons you're seeing the indices so red is money is floating out of what had become these flight to safety stocks, FANG-T, the Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Google, Netflix, and Netflix and Google, and Tesla, right? You're seeing a little bit of a float out of these, although Tesla's barely green, 0.17. Little bit of a float away from these, and it seems like some money is pouring into the more risky kind of SPAC sector right now, where we're getting back to maybe some of those high growth stocks, the high potential stocks. Now, personally, this is the highest amount of cash that I've been sitting on for a while here. In fact, I just did a video on that about going cash heavy. I encourage you to watch it. And I'm really looking for those opportunities, especially since we know that this particular sector here, almost all of these here, tends to go in these cycles where we wave up and then we come crashing down hard and fast, and we slowly either bleed down or up, depending on how far we fell. So this is a sector that I love taking profits on when I have profits to be had on call contracts or sometimes even shares. So for example, if let's say you've got a ton of options, which a lot of you do, especially a lot of you in the Stocks and Psychology Money group, a lot of you have a lot of shares or options in Matterport. And in my opinion, there are opportunities like this. I mean, who knows? The thing could keep running, right? But in my opinion, it makes sense for some of these to take some potential profits and rebuy them if and when we get a little bit of a fall. Downside is, might not be a fall, right? But we are seeing this more broad uncertainty in the marketplace. And I think with the debt ceiling limit discussions coming up, as well as this $3.5 trillion stimulus package, along with continued uncertainty around inflation, I would expect a lot of volatility over really the next 4 weeks. And I would expect less volatility going into the end of the year, unless, of course, we just kick the can of the debt ceiling limit down to December and kind of extend the uncertainty a bit. But really, I'm very bullish on this at the end of this year ending strong. We definitely still have some waves to get through, though, specifically the infrastructure package, $3.5 trillion, negotiations around taxes, of capital gains taxes are we going to expect to see in the stock market, and what kind of reaction from the Federal Reserve are we going to be expecting. So being a realtor for almost a month and just got my first commission check. Congratulations, fastest lap. Go throw that into the stock market or keep it ready for a deal that comes up. But that is so freaking awesome. Congratulations. But yeah, I mean, look at this. You've got, let's go into some of these. So I want to specifically look at Upwork as an example here. Look at the pain that Upwork has had. And you've only recently had a recovery here on Upwork since about August 20th. August 20th, in hindsight here, was one of our low points in the market here. August 20th being approximately the lowest point for Upwork since May 12th. August 20th was our May 12th all over again. That was a pretty bloody market, except that was almost a month ago at this point. So Matterport has been pretty much soaring since about August 20th as well. It's been straight out. It's been in breakout mode. Personally, with the amount of volume that's coming into this, I'm personally concerned that it's overblown, but I cheer it. I cheer it. I love it. I'm happy for it. But yeah, you were definitely seeing a whole lot more buys in the order book than you're seeing in the on the sell side right now, which is very, very bullish. So good for Matterport. Beyond Meat, recovering back after going down to 105. Tattooed Chef back over 20. Redfin, here's another one. Look at Redfin. Redfin's just another one that's really just skating along the bottom here. We've got a support line drawn at about $47. We did once break this down to $44, but not much risk beyond that. Instead, now sort of popping up a little bit again here, getting a bit of that brisk on rotation, again, with real estate as well. SoFi, interestingly, at least so far today, being left out of this sort of SPAC risk-on rotation. Again, Lucid, Faraday, Virgin, Fisker, ATER. ATER started the day negative, by the way. Teladoc coming up 5%. I mean, some incredible movements here, especially in the latter part of the day, the second half of the day, in tech and higher valuation companies. I mean, even look at this. You got Enphase at 160. I mean, this is a substantial swing here on Enphase, where you were at 154, 155 this morning. Now you're up to 160. That's a nice move. It's about a 4% move. So great job, Enphase. Hyliion, SolarEdge, CRISPR, Upwork. Canoe, here's another SPAC that I believe is pretty well shorted, although I'd have to double check that. We'll double check Canoe in just a moment. But anyway, Canoe also August 20th hit a low. I mean, August 20th ended up being another May 12th basically here, but it was actually even a worse May 12th. And there were some stocks we were looking at. I remember a month ago, we were saying, wow, some of these things are lower than where they were May 12th. We were talking about it. But yeah, Canoe's definitely got some pain here at 692. ChargePoint finally bouncing off that support line here back to 2140. Not a lot of consistent pain in the market, though. Even though we get those indices that are red, the pain just isn't that big. IronNet, though, that's been a rough one. That one went down to $30 here, now down 26%. TMC, AI, these guys got wrecked a little bit here. Dutch Bros was interesting. Dutch Bros, this thing ran like crazy after the IPO, and now we're really falling here, 9.42% at the moment. We had a close of 35.42 on IPO day, closed at 45.73 the next day. We're in between those two charts right now. All right, let's see. Okay, then we've got Bumble, Carvana. Looks like MicroStrategy just had a little bit of a sharp U-turn here towards the end of the day. Let's go ahead and get to the minute chart and see what happened here. Yeah, look at that sort of plummet here at the end of the day on Micro. Some kind of news would have to have come out for our volume to go from 7,000 to 25,000 for multiple minutes here. Let's go ahead and try to figure out what this is. But yeah, certainly a risk-on movement here. If you look at some more of the higher valuation plays individually, ignoring the indices, actually. Let's listen into CBC while I log into the terminal here.
The SPX, the index, is only 2.5% off the high. And I think people need to keep in mind, year to date, only 78 S&P 500 stocks are down. So it's 5-1, in terms of like the names that you hold being green. We still look very good overall. But nobody should be astonished if this weakness continues. It's some would say a long time coming, and it's definitely deteriorating from the perspective of the internals. So that's really, to me, been the big takeaway from this week.
Yeah, certainly it's the biggest stocks actually leading the downside right now. Banks actually firm. So lots of mixed messages in there. But to sell or not to sell stocks ahead of a possible capital gains tax hike, that's the question facing many investors right now. Robert Frank has the details. Hey, Robert.
Mike, it is a $50 billion question. President Biden and Democrats in the House and Senate have all proposed increasing the capital on high earners. Biden's plan would be retroactive to April. The new House plan gives a start date of September 13th. Kevin Brady, he's the top Republican on Ways and Means, saying this morning that, quote, no decision has been made. And maybe that's why many wealthy taxpayers are looking this week to sell stocks or assets, hoping maybe for an even later start date. Now, a tax foundation analysis found that if the capital gains tax hike takes effect on January 1st of next year, that would allow investors to sell beforehand. Total revenue from a hike would drop by $50 billion. Maybe this is one small element that's adding to the selling pressure this week.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. That's a big shift there.
In terms of what the psychology of it all is. I mean, Josh, I guess if you were going to act on this prospect, you'd have to have a sense of what the rate was going to go up to, what the timing might be, the treatment of retroactive or not, and then did you want to actually sell something soon anyway, and what are you going to do with the money? So how would you sort of advise somebody to play these things?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. It's a good question. And the last thing you said, I think, is the most applicable thing from a wealth management perspective. and they're telling you to make sales because of the political debate over where the cap gain rate is going to go, you probably should start shopping for a new financial planner. This is not good investment advice. The reason to sell things is because you're using the money for something, or there's a better investment to be made. Because in the end, you're still going to be sitting with that capital. You're still going to have to put it to work. You could make the argument that opportunity zone funds might get hot again, depending on where that rate ends up going to. But like, it's not the tight, to me, that's not very tactical. That feels more strategic when you're working with somebody on your wealth situation. So I would not be counseling people in like 99% of cases to do anything to their portfolio ahead of this, during it, or after. I don't think it's smart, and I don't think historically that's been the right way to invest. I've got reams of evidence showing the contrary.
Let's hit M&A potential deal. Rumors, Invesco reportedly in talks to merge with State Street Asset Management business, which manages nearly $4 trillion in assets. In separate statements, the firms say they, quote, do not comment on speculation. Those stocks moving in opposite directions today. Invesco up 6, State Street down about almost 3%. Mike, I remember when Nelson Peltz first bought into this company, Invesco, back in last year, and the rumors started flying then that there was going to be some.
Go back to the sticks in 1 sec.
What do you think about this?
Stock's been dirt
merger?
cheap, for sure. And even the idea that such a deal might happen just underscores that it's such a scale business. A lot of these assets for State Street are kind of index fund, low margin, a good steady business, but definitely not something where necessarily it's that performance based. So you bolt these things together and it might make sense. Although, I don't know, these deals don't tend to happen at the beginning of market cycles. It seems like when huge asset managers are looking to get together, it means we're, somewhat at a mature phase. Let's get over to FedEx. FedEx shares under pressure.
All right, we're going to pull off this here. My Weeble's frozen now. So yeah, I was just looking at the same time as CNBC was chatting here. Come on. Stupid thing froze. Here we go. Just looking at Hippo, and the options pricing doesn't make sense right now because I wanted to buy a call and show you, but the options pricing, in my opinion, just doesn't make entirely sense. It's just not as ideal right now. It should be lower than this. It should be less expensive than $1.15 for the $4. So keeping an eye on this to see if we can get any kind of price improvement on this, especially since the stock has moved to the downside. All right, so we'll wait for that. Faraday Futures just jumped into the close here a little bit. So did CRISPR, Ocugen, Hyliion, Redfin. I mean, you got some runs here into the close. I mean, look at this. This is an incredible move here by a lot of different risk-on stocks. Look at that. Archimoto, Hyliion, Matterport's over here, that 5% range. These are some big old moves. Workhorse, all of the SPACs and all the high valuation companies coming back. Let's get the closing bell here and look at this and understand this a bit more.
20 for a while today. It's going to go out above 20. The market's a little bit agitated as we have another test of the S&P 500 50-day moving average and have a second straight losing week, down just not quite 3% from the all-time high on September 2nd.
All right, there is the closing bell. Dow Jones down 0.49%, S&P down 0.92%, and then now they have a little coming up thing over there. That's in my way. Fine then. I will go find it a different way. CNBC. S&P down 0.92, Dow Jones down 0.48, NASDAQ down 0.91, Russell's only down 0.06. Volatility index definitely up today on a jump. So looking at how things are actually just wrapping up over here, look at this. It's very, very interesting that you've got the higher risk moves came green today. ATR was down, ended up doing 11.4% after. Then you've got Lucid, 8.46%. This is the second day in a row now of big moves after that EPA rating. Very, very nice on Lucid. Virgin Galactic, 7.84% here. A rally into the close. Faraday Futures, a push into the close. I mean, this is a substantial push into the close. Look at that volume here that came into the close. Oh, you can't really see the volume right here. But this is absolutely incredible. Then You've got Fisker, 7% up. Golly, you've got CRISPR Therapeutics, 6%. Fuel Cell, Invitae. These are all very high multiple stocks. I mean, this is extremely risk-on behavior all of a sudden here. Very, very risk-on. Plug Power. I mean, this almost feels like it's like Kathy Wood just coming in and buying everything. These all feel like Kathy kind of stocks, with the exception of like the car companies because she's so into Tesla. Redfin, finally a push on Redfin. And Redfin deserves, but look at when these came in. These almost look like fund buys right here at the end. Very, very, very fascinating. Matterport, we saw this running all day. Ocugen pushed into the close. Something happened here the last 5 minutes of the day. We got big purchases. These are fund purchases, folks. And I'm not talking about you having your own funds, which if you wanted $70 more as part of your own funds or up to $70 more, you can always go to metkevin.com/public to get a free stock worth all the way up to $70. They don't buy or sell your information, and they don't use payment for order flow. Instead, you could just go to metkevin.com/public and get a free stock worth up to $70. Look how easy that is. metkevin.com/public. But anyway, to me, these purchases here at the end of the day, the way they ran into this market, they feel like an exchange traded fund or a mutual fund. Somebody came in here and went buying. It is quad witching. This is true. So you had a lot of volatility. So you would somewhat expect to see this on a day like this. But this is incredible. The live stream is you have to join the course by going to metkevin.com/join, which I'm glad we extended the coupon code to pass the election, because as soon as the election didn't go well, a ton of y'all, like an insane amount of y'all, bought, actually a lot of you bought bundles. Bundle 2, 4, and 5 was popular again. A lot of you bought Stocks and Psychology of Money. And then a lot of you who were already in Stocks and Psychology of Money liked it so much that you bought the Property Management Group and the Investing Group. Anyway, so where were we? So, but yeah, I mean, a lot of these stocks that have just been beaten down just towards the end of the day had little rallies. Upwork here, very fascinating. Very, very nice. You got about almost a full 10% move here. I'm sorry, a 10-point move or about 20-point move in just the last month. Workhorse, Nikola, Upstart, a lot of the more high valuation names, even 23andMe, higher valuation name. Enphase ended up coming up 2.62%. Nice, especially since we had a low of 153. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely nuts. Let's see here. Talk about XRP and the SEC. Yeah, I've looked into this quite a few times. I mean, there's a lawsuit, but I mean, beyond that, like, what news is there, beyond talking about the original lawsuit and complaints against XRP? Norwegian Cruise Lines, you even got recovery, but this is not so much of a recovery day, even though Lemonade's up a little bit. This is just like a push of anything higher valuation got pushed today. Very fascinating. You do have some losers here: Iron Net, TMC, AI, Dutch Bros, and Green Ridge, which used to be support.com. These guys all blowing off 26, 16, 11, 9, and 8%. Hippo fell down to, it's presently at 4.89. It's a bargain. I'm waiting for that options pricing to update. You can't do options, obviously. There we go. It's already better. It's already gotten better. But I'm waiting for this to update even more. It's still a little too high, but on options pricing. But I mean, in terms of the stock price, it's great right here. So very good. Let's see, AMC, Qualcomm, Rocket Lab 3.02, Shift Technologies down 265, Monday.com's down, PayPal's down, Hut 8's down, G-Tech, Facebook. Here's the Alphabet, Penn Gaming, Microsoft, Apple. These are the reasons here why the indices are down. The big expensive companies are down. Simon Property Group, these guys all down. Big expensive index stocks are down. The small, more expensive, higher valuation stocks, not in the indices, these guys did extremely well today. My goodness. Let's look at Tesla here. Tesla. Oh yeah, Tesla dropped during the end of the day here, but ended up 0.5% up. Well, we were negative. That's why at one point we had gone negative. Just a nice run here, really, in the last hour. How weird. What a bizarro market. Yeah, I wonder, and it is Friday, so I'm curious to see how some of these higher valuation moves are going to play into Monday. But these are big numbers. Woo! So you're so big, so much bigger than expected. All right, what else here? API, though, is still bleeding out to the ground. BNGO is pretty low at the moment as well. Lordstown Motors, $7. Yikes. I do not have calls in Zoom. Yeah, Matterport's just been crushing it. Well, usually quad witching is just a day. But anyway, let's go. Let's jump into some news. Let's see what we got in terms of news. So we saw this with the FDA panel voting against Pfizer booster shots. Thought that was interesting.
Would rather it be 60, although there are a lot of people pointing out that the data from Israel suggests 60 is the good cutoff to go with in terms of where that protection starts to wane for severe disease. So, guys, we're going to see where they come back and then where the vote lands here. The FDA seems like it wants to approve these boosters, guys. You have Dr. Peter Marks, who's really the #2 regulator there, and the guy who's in charge of the vaccines unit, who has been pushing to change this language so they can take this vote. You have Dr. Janet Woodcock, who's the acting commissioner, who has signed on to that letter from all the U.S. health officials saying they plan to start rolling out boosters in September 20th, which is next week, as long as the FDA and CDC sign off on it. So we'll see where this vote goes. Then we'll see how the FDA actually approves this. And then we'll see what the CDC does next week, guys. But right now, sounding like a narrower vote about to be taken, guys.
Dr. Fauci told us a lot about this, Meg. He said that he suggested he was in favor of recommending a booster for an older.
Okay, I'm going to pull off this here, off the booster talk here. It's interesting. I thought they were going to push for the boosters. Apparently not. But anyway, take a look at this. Mark Cuban here. Stablecoins will be one of the first to get regulated. I mean, that makes sense. I believe that because some of you mentioning it's a little blurry. So I'm just going to read. There. Is that better? All right. So, all right, that should be better. Now, here's what's interesting about this is Stablecoins are deemed to be a savings for people, right? But the problem is they're not really savings because most people want yield on their stablecoins, so they lend it out. And it doesn't surprise me that Mark Cuban would suggest that stablecoins will be one of the first to get regulated. I personally kind of agree with that. Variance in definition by product. Let's see here. True, like what? This is a good point. Let's see here. Stablecoins will be the first regulated. Why? The variance in definition by product. What is a peg? What is an algorithmic stablecoin? Is it stable? Do buyers understand what the risks are? Couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. Because think about it. Like we've talked about this on the channel. Like you think it's a savings account, and then all of a sudden you see, the stablecoins get lent out, and then you don't actually have money for them, so you can't redeem them. That's a problem. That's a problem. So I agree. Big opportunity here. Yeah, no, I understand the SUE equals opportunity, but I just don't understand XRP that much yet. I've been working on researching it, and I like investing in things I understand, and I just don't understand XRP yet. So is what it is. But I'm down to do more research. Okay, so what else do we have? We've got. Oh yeah, this Pentagon thing. I want to check this out. I might do a video on this. Let's see. Let's go to Wall Street. No, I don't think this is an unpopular opinion. I actually think there are a lot of people who wouldn't mind seeing some regulation of stable coins, because then then you're going to, that's going to be your first step to really making this more mainstream, which is ultimately what we would want. U.S. to target crypto use and ransomware attack payments. Okay. FDA's advisory panel. We saw this. Lockdowns in Asia deepen supply chain pain. Democrats want to raise your taxes. Here's your to-do list. Some saying that this is leading to some selling today. All right, let's see. Bloomberg. All right. So, let's see. Fight for the $15 minimum wage, buying pressure, or buying conditions worst in decades. Saw that a little earlier, talking about how homes, consumer durables, and cars are very difficult to buy right now because of supply chain issues, and how they've gotten so darn expensive. Driverless cars need for new data is sparking a new space race. Ooh. It's interesting, yeah, how driverless cars could actually fuel a totally different industry. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and get back to these. So how did Bitcoin do today? Looks like Bitcoin today, judging by a 1-hour chart, mostly rotated to the downside today, as it sort of did yesterday, but at a very, very slow pace. So that's crypto. In the after hours here, we've got roughly the similar companies here rotating down. Here we go. AI is actually coming up. Microvast coming up a little bit. Cost coming up a little. SoFi coming up. Robinhood a quarter. Slight gains here. People following the lawsuit discovered one of the documents SAC. Oh, I would love to see that dirty laundry thing. Maybe you can post that in Discord and tag me. Just go to metkevin.chat and then you'll be able to join Discord and then tag me. That'd be great. All right. Redfin dropping 1% in the after hours, sort of U-turning here some of the gains of the day. Same thing with Smile Direct dropping about 2.24% in the afters. Blue Apron down again in the afters. Affirm sitting at 115 in the afters. I've got 115 covered calls. I think we did those for what, December or something like that. Anyway. Pretty stable otherwise here. Okay, maybe we'll go back to news then. So this was Bloomberg. Here's Kathy. Nope, I thought I saw Kathy. She's not here. Never mind. All right, let's try Financial Times. Yeah, this was against the Pfizer vax. U.S. tries to soothe ties with French. U.S. clampdown on Celsius network. Crypto yield products. See, this is probably what spawns commentary on regulation for stablecoins. But this is a similar thing that happened at the SEC. Stop issuing order. Wow. Both argued the company's interest-bearing accounts, known as Celsius Earns, constitute an unregistered securities offering. Ouch. Yeah. Probably going to see a lot of pain short-term about that. I wouldn't be surprised if you get more lawsuits coming out as well. But, wow. Okay. Well, look, I mean, to wrap the day, I think the way to, and really the week, the way to look at it is towards the end of the day today on quadruple witching, we had a big rush of money into higher risk plays, specifically unindexed plays like SPACs and other high valuation tech and innovation companies. Great for a company like ARK. Great for some of the smaller companies, but the indices don't really pick up on that. So the indices were mostly red, while some of these higher risk plays were pretty darn green going into the close, anywhere from 5 to 10%. Pretty incredible, including Arcimoto, Matterport, and so on. Pretty amazing. So now it's just a matter of chilling out and seeing what happens next week. Next week, we do have Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. I'll probably do a preview weekend video, so make sure to subscribe. And if you have not yet, download the Meet Kevin app. It's linked down below for Apple or Android. It's totally free. And if you use that link, you'll see right next to that link, there's a link to join the programs linked down below on Building Your Wealth. All right, folks, thanks so much for being here. We will see you in the next one. And yeah, Federal Reserve Chairperson Jerome Powell talks on Wednesday about, are we going to get the taper or not? Most people right now expect the answer to be, we're not. We expect it to be November. All right, y'all. See you later. Bye.